Hello YouTubers, you're on a new episode of Action Reaction, and today I'm going to be going over the 1987 classic Lethal Weapon. This one and this 4-pack. But they're all great. Anyways, I'm going to start with the original. It's written by Shane Black, who wrote and directed this year's The Nice Guys. He also wrote Predator, wrote and directed Iron Man 3, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and of course, Lethal Weapon. It's directed by Richard Donner, who directed Superman the Movie, The Goonies, Assassins with Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas, Maverick, and then 16 Blocks starring Bruce Willis and Mos Def.
The film stars Danny Glover as Roger Murtaugh, Mel Gibson as Martin Riggs. The film also stars Gary Busey as Joshua, Mitchell Ryan as the General, Tom Atkins as Michael Hunsucker, Darlene Love as Trish Murtaugh, Tracy Wolf as Rhiann Murtaugh, in addition to Mary Ellen Trainor as a psychologist, and Steve Cahan as Captain Ed Murphy.
But anyways, the film, a quick summary, non-spoiler. It starts off in Los Angeles. The beginning has a prostitute named Amanda Hudsucker, and she commits suicide at the beginning. For some reason, every time I hear Jingle Bell Rock at the beginning of this movie, I think of a prostitute falling down. Moving on. We meet Roger Murtaugh. He just turned 50 years old and is a verge of retirement, played by Danny Glover. He gets assigned to the case of Amanda Hudsucker's murder. And it turns out she's a daughter of a man named Michael Hudsucker, in which Danny Glover, Murtaugh, met 12 years before during the Vietnam War. He hasn't spoken to him since the Vietnam War. So anyways, during the beginning of the investigation, he meets a man named Martin Riggs, who is assigned as his new partner, played by Mel Gibson. Now, he is just very suicidal, and there's a reason why the film is called Lethal Weapon. Psychologically, he's declared as a lethal weapon, just like a one-man army, just unstable and very suicidal. And the reason why that is because his wife, Vicki Lynn Riggs, died in a car accident 3 years before, and ever since then, he's been very suicidal. Almost kills himself in one portion of the film, but the reason why he doesn't go through it is because of the job of being a police officer. Anyway, Riggs and Murtaugh are paired up, and throughout the film they get to know each other much more. And they meet Michael Hudsucker, who is a banker, and it turns out that Amanda Hudsucker may have not committed suicide. She may have been in fact murdered because of her father being involved with the Shadow Company. A Shadow Company comprised of mercenaries who used to be soldiers in the Vietnam War. They're former mercenaries that worked in the Vietnam War and now are supplying the majority of heroin in the Los Angeles Greater County area. So not only do they have to figure out who murdered Amanda Hudsucker, but they're going to have to figure out how to stop the Shadow Company. And of course the film has them investigating the Shadow Company more and more. More obstacles come in. And yeah, like I said, Riggs and Murtaugh get to know each other more. You get to know more about Riggs. He's not so suicidal and crazy as he's made out to be, even though he is. You get to meet Murtaugh's family, see he's like a family man. And it's just great seeing the opposite of Riggs and Murtaugh, not only because Murtaugh's an African-American man, Riggs is white, but the age gap. Murtaugh's a lot older than Riggs, so just the opposites of them make a good duo of a buddy cop film. And I tell you one thing, this film would have fell flat if it wasn't for the chemistry of Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in the film. They make the characters, they make this film and the sequels, and that's why Lethal Weapon is so successful. I really haven't seen anything like this film ever since. Maybe the closest is Rush Hour, but Lethal Weapon was the movie that started the buddy cop genre, what revitalized it in the first place. It reinvented buddy cop action. So, I get back to it. They investigate the Shadow Company, and the Shadow Company starts going after Murtaugh's family and Riggs and Murtaugh. Now, in the Shadow Company, General McAllister is a leader, and Gary Busey plays his second in command. And they do great as villains. Usual 80s stuff, but it's nice seeing like a couple of Americans instead of like them having a European terrorist, so that's something different than some of the other 80s action movies at the time. And it becomes very personal, so they have to figure out a way to stop them and basically protect themselves in the process. So it's a very intense film, well written by Shane Black, and the action is just terrific. I mean, there's not a boring scene in Lethal Weapon. It's a 2-hour movie, and even the scenes with dialogue, I mean, Shane Black just has some witty dialogue between Riggs and Murtaugh, and besides the chemistry, it doesn't become a comedy. At least this one doesn't. it's not self-parody, you know. It's they just feel like real people, and that's what I love about it. In an action film, you have to have real people. So great action, and Richard Donner knows how to do that. He did Superman the movie, the Goonies, and the music. Eric Clapton does some of the music as well as Michael Kamen. Now Michael Kamen did Highlander, the first one, and it's a great film. I would recommend both the theatrical and director's cut. The director's cut just goes in a bit more detail at the beginning before they meet. You see why Riggs is transferred. It turns out there is a school sniper shooting school children, and Riggs is upset, goes into the line of fire, and the guy's like missing. He's like, "Come on, asshole, you're gonna shoot me, or you only do children." And then he just gets a sniper, and the chief even calls Riggs like, "You're one tough son of a bitch, Riggs, but you get the job done." And yeah, that's why he's transferred. He's just really suicidal in this team, so it's just crazy. Just a little bit more scenes here and there added. And then just seeing them as real people. They're not superheroes. They feel like real people, and when they get hurt and stuff, you're just rooting for them. They struggle. And that's just great. They have a little bit of thriller stuff there, some suspense, but more of action, buddy cop, procedural stuff. And yeah, Lethal Weapon is just like a perfect action film. I give it a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10. It's just very, very well directed. And some of my favorite scenes, even like Riggs, I love it when that scene where they go out for the first time, and like this guy's wanting to jump and commit suicide, and Riggs is just like going up there. It's like, "You don't want to do that. Can you just come down and make me easier, make it look good to my new partner and boss?" "No, man, screw you. I'll do it." And he's like, "Well, here's a cigarette. Can I have a smoke?" And he's like sharing a smoke, and then he like handcuffs the guy, and it's like, "You can do it, but you're gonna be taking an officer down and be charged with murder." And he's like, "Screw you, asshole. I'm gonna do it." It's like, "Do you want to jump? Do you really want to jump? Well, then let's do it, asshole. Let's do it." And he's like, "No, no, no." And he's like, "I want to jump. I want to jump." And they just jump off, and of course they land safely on the balloon thing. But like, oh man, it's just a classic scene. Just classic stuff like that Shane Black wrote, and then how Richard Donner directed it really, really makes this film. And yeah, there's Die Hard, Terminator, RoboCop. There's a Dirty Harry's and stuff, but really, Lethal Weapon is up there like Die Hard in them. It's up there with all those action movies I just mentioned. Lethal Weapon is one of the best 80s action films. It is an 80s action film. It's like Die Hard and Lethal Weapon. Kind of has a Die Hard vibe being produced by Joel Silver, but yeah. Definitely check out Lethal Weapon. Please do it. I, for one, am not too old for this shit, because this shit is good. And yeah, it just got lethal. Go check out Lethal Weapon. Enjoy, guys. That's what I feel about it. And yeah, go check it out. It's a great action film.